Welcome to day 64 of my meditating, my personal journey, inspired by Kyle Cease with all the revelations that are coming up. Well, how to start today? Firstly, I'm feeling very tired. Very tired, but feeling really relaxed in myself and my body. And I'm absolutely fine with that, because there was a time when I felt really tense in my body. I used to feel quite stressed out, and I didn't realise at the time how stressed I actually was. I was teaching at the time, and this was going back 4 years. And I know there was a lot of time pressure to get things done by a certain day, by a certain date. And there was a barrage of extra things that we had to be, and it was a little bit like jumping through hoops. You can never get through enough hoops before there was another hoop that you had to jump through. And I was spending a lot of time working, and even on weekends I was working, and I started to find myself feeling like a swirling in my stomach, like a tension, like a feeling of, am I going to get this right? Will I get it done in time? There was constant headaches that I had. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't switch off. My mind was racing. So I suffered from lack of sleep. I was still doing my training and my fitness, but because I wasn't having a lot of sleep and my body was under a lot of stress, I went through lots of periods of emotional eating. So where I'd sort of grab I'd grab for the nearest sugary food to somehow feel a bit better. And it was probably a yo-yo of up and down weight. And when my weight went up, it was another reason to beat myself up. So I felt tense, I felt exhausted, I felt like a sickly, nauseous feeling in my stomach. And this was intermingled with periods of excitement and elation, which didn't seem to last long, and I started chasing that excitement and exhilaration and trying to make myself positive. But what I was doing is I wasn't actually recognising, I wasn't accepting the way that I was feeling at the time. So instead I was trying to be positive, which created a facade of someone who I really wasn't. And at the time it wasn't really recognised that mental health was something that was important, just as important as physical health. So even though a lot of my symptoms were physical symptoms, I also was depressed. I was not wanting to do things. I had no enthusiasm to do things. It was a chore to get to work. It was like a feeling as I don't want to go. And it wasn't until I went to my doctor just to talk about how I was feeling, but work wanted some sort of sick note. And they said I needed to go to my doctor, so I did. And while I was explaining all the symptoms that I was feeling, thinking that he would say, this is this or this is that, he actually turned around to me and said those are all the symptoms of long-term stress, which I was shocked at because I didn't realise that stress would manifest in those sorts of ways. Now, everyone is different. Everyone handles stress in different ways, and I was constantly fighting against the way that things were at work. And that's when your body goes into a state of stress, when you're fighting against the things that are actually happening. So instead of accepting, well, yeah, this is what we needed to get done by a certain day, I would beat myself up, I would procrastinate, I wouldn't get it done till the last minute because half of me didn't want to do it. And I wasn't feeling the enthusiasm, I wasn't feeling supported, I was having a tough time at home in my relationship as well. So it was all impacting upon my work, and my work-life balance was very, very poor. So I was probably doing 75, 80, 85% work, and the rest of the time it wasn't going out and doing stuff like that. It was just feeling absolutely exhausted. So I had no idea I was going to talk about this today, but since I've started recognising my feelings and accepting where I am, and other techniques that I've used, I feel so relaxed, I feel so at peace with who I am. Every emotion is allowed to be. So, day 64. From mini-me to maxi-me, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.